So who's excited for the end of Job? Me. Thank you for sticking with me till the end. So today I'll be talking about the last chapters of the book of Job, which I couldn't have asked for a better ending. How about you? Okay, so let me share my lessons. In chapter 40, God continues to speak to Job, and his response was to admit that he could never try to argue with God and that he said too much already. But God wasn't deterred. He went on to question Job, challenging him to discredit his justice and condemn him if he could. Now, in this, talking about it now is like it's easy for this to sound like God was being mean and, just trying to make sure that Job knew how wrong he was. But as I read on, I realized that that wasn't it. God spoke about many great and mighty things that he, God, was more than capable of and had done, and invited Job to tell me what his own capacities or capabilities were, i.e., the way we see him, do am knifey easy. I loved reading about the mysterious and scary creatures that God had created and how he described every terrifying feature of their being. I've heard arguments about how Behemoth is a dinosaur, a great and mighty dinosaur from the past. And Leviathan is a fearful dragon which resides in the depths of the darkest parts of the sea. Well, whatever they are, they can stay where they are, because I have no intention whatsoever of meeting Barney and the dragon. They can stay where they are. Oh, and have you ever heard a saying trying to link the Leviathan with the mythical creature called the Kraken? I actually believe that they might be one and the same thing. Anyway, but think about how those creatures inspire awe and fear, and then juxtaposition that feeling onto the one who created them. If such scary creatures could make you feel that way, then imagine the God who made them, who they are subject to. Awesome. After God finishes speaking, Job concedes to his power and might. Not like it was ever in question, but he admits that he spoke about things too wonderful for him. I loved 42:5, where he said, I'd only heard about you before, but now I have seen you with my own eyes. Then he took everything that he had said back. Now, I think this is the reason why God wanted Job to come to that realization, which was why he kept questioning him. It wasn't like he was trying to be mean, but he was trying for him to now come into that knowledge that, fine, now know, that I'm God and you are man, and you don't have to, try to understand everything that I do. That's really what I got from it. And after God finished with Job, he faced the trifling trio. And then I wondered, where was Elihu when God was speaking? Like, he just said his own and then just scampered off. But he faced the president, Eliphaz, right? And he expressed his anger at the fact that they hadn't spoken correctly about him. Get this, as Job had. So even God knew that Job had spoken correctly about him, and then the people that had come to comfort and castigate him were wrong. So all the time that Job was speaking rightfully about God, I wondered, was he really, or was God just referring to the things that he admitted to at the end? Now, I don't know the answer to that. I'd love to hear what you think. So at the end, they had to offer sacrifices, and Job prayed for them and got forgiveness on their behalf. Notice how Job's forgiveness was the basis of his restoration and his own blessing. Let's get to my hashtag getting to know God moment. If Job, who was righteous in God's sight and did all that he could to please him and enjoyed his blessings, could say he had heard about him and had just experienced him as a result of his troubles, it just goes to show how there was a purpose for his suffering. And then it made me think about it, like how some people feel so close to God and feel so, oh, I know God, I've known God from my youth. And then it's just something that happens that makes you really know that, yeah, there are levels to this stuff. God is near to us, especially in our suffering. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed." Also, something that came very strongly to me in these chapters is that God is a mighty restorer. After Job prayed for his friends, God gave him back twice what he had before. Job was restored not only of his fortunes, but of his relationships. His brothers, sisters, and former friends who had left him came back to console and comfort him. And they also brought money too, which is not a bad thing. The second half of Job's life was even more blessed than the first. I think that is an amazing end to this story. And I hope, like me, reading or hearing the book of Job or the story of Job from this perspective gives you another level of knowledge and then also another perspective into the person of God. Thank you for sticking with me through Job. On the next episode, I will be doing a summary of the lessons, just summarizing the lessons that we have learned, through all 42 chapters. And then we'll be going back to Genesis because we're following that order, don't forget. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me tonight and have a wonderful evening.